You know, this narrative is getting really fucking tired, boys. Doctor Who, William Hartnell was never considered to be the first Doctor. Well, fuck you. It can't get any simpler than that, and I can't put it any plainer words than that. With any great story, every story needs a strong foundation, a canon, as you would say. And in recent years, we've had retarded showrunners think, oh, I can do the origin story that was never to be told. The whole point of the Doctor is we never find out about his past, we never find out about his childhood, we never find out about his real past. We don't know his name. The whole fucking point of the show, Doctor Who, this mysterious man that travels through time and space. But retards that run the show and people who think they're intelligent when they're really not want to be the ones that answer the question, Doctor Who. And that recently happened with Chris Chibnall. The Timeless Children is probably considered to be one of the biggest pieces of shit, if not the biggest piece of shit Doctor Who story ever told. It's not only bad, it's not only dreadful, it's not only got the probably worst Doctor in the entire history of the show, even though I don't consider Jodie Whittaker or Ncuti Gatwa the Doctor. They are fanfic, queerbaiting, basically not the Doctor. They don't show any characteristics of the Doctor. They're not particularly well acted. They basically made the whole point of the show with regenerate. They basically took the concept of regeneration and flushed it down the toilet. If you have limitless lives, then there's no tension in any of the stories you're telling. The whole point of a Time Lord, 12 lives and you're gone. That's it. Yes, we've broken the rules recently with Matt Smith, but this can be forgiven because it stuck within the idea of, oh, you get 12 lives. The Time Lords gave him another 12 lives, you would carry on. But with Timeless Children, no. William Hartnell, that great first team, the great production team, the people who created the show, all that hard work, all the long hours, all the creativity that was poured into making this show was flushed down the toilet because some fucking modern day retard thinks he can tell a story better than the original people who did. Doctor Who has been through several iterations of the titular Time Lord since it began in 1963, but whilst most audience was understandably consider William Hartnell's original version to be the first Doctor, yes, he is the first Doctor. This man is the entire fucking foundation of the show. Without William Hartnell, there would be no Doctor Who. That's how important he is to the show. This technically isn't true. No, it is true, so go fuck yourself. Throughout the show's extensive history, there have been plenty of different writers and showrunners in charge of the project, and each one has made dramatic changes to the canon to make it somewhat difficult to understand where every single version of the Doctor sits on a timeline. Well, no, it's not hard to understand where each Doctor sits in a timeline. You have number 1, William Hartnell, number 2, Patrick Troutman, number 3, John Pertwee, 4, Tom Baker, 5, Peter Davidson, 6, Colin Baker, 7, Sylvester McCoy, 8, Paul McGann, 9, John Hurt, 10, Christopher Eccleston. This is by the idea of the 50th anniversary, by the way, I'm going through this. 11, David Tennant, and the 12th life being Matt Smith. It's not exactly fucking grade A rocket science, is it? The only complications that have come from it are retards that have just dropped incarnations of the Doctor that have never been seen or spoken about, and are apparently have come before William Hartnell. When this happened, when the Timeless Children came out, everyone in the fandom rightfully said, shut the fuck up, that never happened, it doesn't make sense. Why, if this incarnation of the Doctor is before William Hartnell, why the fuck does he have a police box? It doesn't make any sense. The only reason the TARDIS is a police box is because William Hartnell landed in a fucking junkyard in 1963 or whatever it was. That's the whole point, to blend in with the time and the chameleon circuit broke. Why would it look like a fucking police box? Thankfully, Doctor Who was a show with an immense fan base. Well, it used to have an immense fan base. Now it has a very colourful, very toxic fan base. And I wouldn't even consider them to be fans, to be honest. And a very active community to help answer all of these questions. However, there are some questions in the show that even the most vocal audiences don't know the answer to. What, like the Doctor's true name, like you're saying in this article? Yes, and we should never know. We should never know his name. That's the mystery behind the show. And for the confusing history of regeneration in Doctor Who has raised several questions, but the most fascinating one is regarding the Doctor's incarnations before the narrative of the show begins. No, there are no incarnations before this. The William Hartnell's the first man. He's the kid who grew up. He's the one who travelled with time and space with his granddaughter Susan. That's the man we know, and he's a man, by the way. Just to trigger some more people out there. We're going to a classic episode, and apparently this answers the fact that there were more incarnations behind him. The pictures belong to members of the Doctor Who production team who volunteered their faces to represent previous versions of the Doctor shows. versions of the show's protagonist. Although the debate surrounding has settled since Chibnall officially wrote pre-Hartnell Doctors of the show with a timeless child. People who, like real fans by the way, were begging for this shit to be retconned in the 60th anniversary, and that's what people were excited about. Where Russell T Davies's return, we were all excited for this man to come back. Yeah, this man was claimed to be the best new Who writer, who has now tarnished his legacy on the platform of woke bullshit. This is the whole reason we were excited for him to come back, for him to fix this, but he came back and instead put a middle finger up to all the fucking fans out there that were excited. He told fans like me to fuck off. Anybody who criticised this fucking out-of-touch retard to fuck off. They're all as bad as each other. It's like a little fan club of woke little fucking mongoloids that don't live in the real world. This essentially confirms that it was always the show's intention to introduce some previous incarnations. Yeah, Doctor Who was never meant for you. That's what they're saying. People who have grown up with this fucking show, who know shit about this show, who know more about this show than probably most of the producers in the fucking team, that it's not for you guys. This is what they're saying. Because some cunt from fucking, what was it? She was on some British fucking healthcare television soap opera on the BBC Play. She gets to play the Doctor, and she's terrible. What is her name? Jo Martin. She's absolute dog shit. But she was upstaging the incarnation at the time, Jodie Whittaker. This is how cringe it is. We've got some random person who was picked because of the colour of her skin. She wasn't there because of her talent. She was there because they wanted to fucking put a black Doctor before William Hartnell, because these woke retards just have some obsession with race. They can't stand the idea that the Doctor is a male role model. It's so cringe. Screen Rant's cringe for even producing this shit article. Who fucking wrote this? Published by Jack Walters. And you know what, Jack? You're a fucking retard, lad. The highest rated episodes of Doctor Who are in this list as well, and they're ironically the one being top being Genesis of the Daleks. You know what's funny about the Genesis of the Daleks? Russell T Davies, with his first little taste for his RTD2, that was the first thing he showed us, was that fucking Children Need Special clip. Do you remember that? Do you remember the Children Need Special clip where they made the Genesis of the Daleks a big fucking laugh, and they didn't have the bollocks to show Davros in his life support machine because they don't want to coincide being in a wheelchair with being evil. Like, this is how fucked and tapped in the head these people are. This is how out of touch with reality these people are. It's like Genesis of the Daleks, War Games, City of Death. What do all these episodes have in common? They're entertaining. That's what the whole point of the show is. Entertainment comes first, message comes second every single time, and the audience is always right. And the whole point, and the whole idea that and you'd think because the Doctor Who doesn't have an audience, and you'd think because Doctor Who doesn't have an audience anymore, these people would learn, but they don't learn. We've had nearly 10 years, 10 fucking years without a single good episode of Doctor Who, and the show has still not been cancelled. Like, put that into perspective. 10 years we've gone without a fucking good episode of Doctor Who. It actually boggles the fucking mind of how crazy that is. The show is so unbelievably massive that it will always have fans out there. It'll always have fans out there to stick by it and call out the bullshit. It is tired to try and argue with these people that these ideas are just absolutely insulting to the people that started this show. It's so tiring to fucking fight these people, but you can't give up. Even when this show gets cancelled, this inevitably will get cancelled. We will be here in 10 years. I swear to God, these same people, these same reprobates, these same incels will be around trying to tell us that the law doesn't matter. Canon does fucking matter in a story, and without canon, you don't have a foundation. Without a foundation, you don't have a show with longevity. And people who probably believe there are pre-Hartnell incarnations are probably being paid by the BBC or just grafting for a fucking job. I don't know. What do you think about this, guys? What do you think about these retarded comments from Screen Rant? Comment down below. Please let me know what you think of this video. Like if you agree with me. Comment if you disagree with me. I always read. I always go through everything. I do enjoy reading the comments when I get a good lot of interactions, whether it be positive or negative. So I do appreciate that. Subscribe if you're new. We're nearly to 1,000 subscribers. I never thought I'd get to 1,000 subscribers, to be honest. I always do this for fun. That's all I'm doing this for, just for a little hobby on the side. Because I know if you're going to complain about Doctor Who, you might as well put some creativity into it, you know what I mean? Alright, I'll see you guys in the next video now. Bye-bye now.